Hi, guys. Welcome to the seventh episode of This Is Not News. I'm your host, Jai, and today on the show we have Nicholas Di Lorenzo. Now, Nicholas is my mastering engineer for basically all of my original music. He's a mastering engineer. He runs Panorama mixing and mastering. Nicholas also has a podcast called Pro Music Daily, so you should definitely go and check that one out if you're in the music industry. All right, guys, let's just get straight into this one. It was a great chat with Nicholas, so let's get this one going. So how you been, man? What's been going on with you?
Yeah, I've been good. Just come in off a long weekend from Easter and now getting into my day here. Got lots to catch up on in terms of admin work. And I was actually just doing some admin and follow ups before we jumped into this call, and then I'll get back to that afterwards.
Yeah, cool. So let's start with I like to I've sort of been getting everyone to introduce themselves on this show. So if you can tell us who you are, what you do, and where you are at the moment.
Nice. I'm Nicholas Di Lorenzo. I'm a mixing and mastering engineer. I own a studio here in Melbourne, Australia, Panorama. And basically, what I do is I just listen to records all day, mix, master, and I love my job. So I'm just super passionate about being open about it. So I let everybody know what's going on. I like helping people in the industry. So it's just sort of a breathe, live, and everything mixing and mastering is like sleep, eat, work, repeat it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So what's been going on down in Melbourne then? Like has much been changing recently with everything going on in terms of your day to day? Has that really affected you a lot or what?
No, because for me, no. As in, nothing's changed for me. It's like I'm at home, I'm at the studio. At the studio, there's only me. So I've had to the one thing that's changed is no more attended sessions, which is like, okay, that's no more attended sessions. Okay, but I still have sessions on. I still have work to do. That is a little bit weird because I do like interaction with people. But otherwise, it's still get in the studio, do the work, put in the long hours, come back home, relax, and then repeat. Um, yeah, that's been the only one change. Just no more attended sessions.
What about other people like because obviously if you've got a lot of clients and stuff and people in all different genres, have you sort of found that maybe stuff's slowed down a bit, or do you think it's little bit more so people have more time to work on stuff? So or maybe they've planned ahead and they've got sort of records they've been working on. Have you found anything in terms of music slowing down?
I think this is going to be really ambiguous. In some areas, it's slowed down. In other areas, it's picked up.
Hmm.
So it's sort of been a bit of a balancing act. However, the areas where it's slowed down, it hasn't slowed down to the point where it's like there's anybody who was doing a live circuit, no more records, no more money. What it's meant is that projects, instead of it being, hey, we've got this project, we're going to finish it within the next week, it's more like, hey, we've got this project, we've got this budget, it's going to be hard for us to work within this budget. How can we navigate this over X amount of time? Okay, let's say it's mixing a record. Let's get it started this week, get all the editing, get all that done. That will be a smaller thing to chew off rather than doing the whole record within 1 week where you got to edit it, get all the tuning done on the vocals, get it mixed, get it mastered. All that budget spent in 1 week might be spent across the month or the next 6 weeks. So it's been a little bit of a shift in the way I've had to approach work for clients, just because it's really important that they're able to manage themselves um, across this rather than having the luxuries they might have had in the past.
Yeah, so I suppose things have just changed. It's just a little bit different in terms of the way people are sort of approaching things.
Yeah, yeah. In that respect, yeah. And I think it's something that um, could be a good thing because it's making people very conscious of how they invest in their music. Because before it was sort of like, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this,
Yeah.
um, and they weren't really assessing what the return on that was.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do you really, 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 really need to spend? I don't know. You can't access recording studios now, so it's not really the good gist of it. But like, do you really need to spend $1,200 for the day having a multi room studio just to record vocal takes?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, Whereas people would do that because it's like, who gives a fuck? The money's there. Let's just do it. Whereas now it's
Yeah.
a bit more like, okay, let's pick and choose where and how and what gets us the best return, which I think is good because I think musicians are, for the most part, can be financially illiterate. because they're creatives. They're not super analytic thinkers. They just feel and they go with what they feel is going to work the best. So now they're being
Yeah.
forced to be okay. What is going to work for me? How am I going to make this work? And it's good because music business is a business, and I think that line of thinking, even though it's not, I don't wish anybody to be through a hardship on this, but it helps them get into a frame of mind that is conductive and productive to seeing things work for what they're putting in.
Yep. So maybe it's even a good opportunity to learn a few things from, from how slowing down and just to look at things a little bit differently, like you said. It's probably a good time for that. And I know that you have, your podcast that you started. How long goes it now? Because you guys smash out episodes like every day during the week. So when did you guys start that? I know you got heaps of episodes.
We started late October or
Yep.
early October. I can't remember. Either the end of October, the start of October, and we're about 135 episodes in.
Yep.
Um, that's been cool. That's been daily. I actually got to pick up the slack on that today. I got to jump in and record a whole bunch of episodes, and I might even cut something from this and chuck it in. And
Yeah.
um, but yeah, no, that's been really cool to do, and I think that's been a good um, positive influence on a lot of people as well because it's very much a daily narrative of what's happening in the life of me and Daniel Grimmett, who's in the States. Our It's a daily narrative of our lives as music professionals and the lives whose we experience through working with others, so people get to connect with um, day to day stories of what's going on.
Have you found that maybe there's some sort of different kind of content that you're maybe creating now for that because things are a little bit differently? Have you done any episodes where you've sort of looked at it from a different angle because of everything that's going on and sort of what you're speaking about here?
I think I've done one or two where I've sort of looked at it from a different angle. I think I think one that was super different was more about mental health and people just sort of you know focusing on themselves because that our podcast specifically is very heavily business minded and music industry minded. So it's
Yep.
very much practically zeros and ones. How do you make this shit work? And how do you actually make something work from it? Which is great, but it can be a dangerous mindset because you can't hang your hat on the dollars in your bank account. You've got other things that can take care of, like your mental health, the people around you, your family, your friends. So I did do one episode on that because I thought that's really important. A lot of creatives can feel isolated just without any social distancing.
Yeah.
They can't
Yeah.
feel distance from people and whatnot and not want to reach out. So I did do one episode on that. But for the most part, I think something conscious that I've been doing inside and outside of the podcast is not changing my tone too much. I
Yep.
made a conscious effort to keep myself grounded and centered to remain. I'm typically very hyper. I'm typically a little bit over the edge, a little bit too much. Um, Not because I try to be, just because I'm a little bit ADHD like that. I want people to see what's going on. I want to be excitable. I want to see people in a positive light. So I've kept that because so much of what people are reading and seeing and experiencing is negative, is sad, is depressing, and that's not necessarily the narrative I want to continue giving people because there's a lot of positive things that can happen that people can procure from this. So I'm just sort of like continuing that throughout all of this.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I think, like you said, it's good to have that positive message and to sort of not be sort of on the negative that everyone else or some people are, especially the media. And it's a great time for sort of innovation and stuff. Like we've spoken about doing a podcast for a beer with my other podcast, a heap, and we just haven't got around to it because we've been in different locations. Now, with Zoom, which honestly has been around for ages anyway. Like we could have done this, last year or any time, but now it's sort of opening people's eyes up a little bit, I think, to this kind of thing. And I've seen you've even been doing some live stream of your sort of mixes and stuff. Is that something you wanted to do before this all happened, or is this something that sort of you just thought was a good time, or what made you sort of make that leap there?
Well, it's something I can do now this has
Yeah.
happened. And the reason being isn't because there's new technology or it's an opportunity where people are now looking for live things. So I'm going to just sort of jump in on the trend. It's been the fact that there's probably a list of 100 things I want to get done,
Yeah.
and I'm never able to do that because I have been before all the isolation happened. I have got attended sessions. I have got meetings to go to. My time in my calendar is really tight. So
Yeah.
finding 60 minutes to do a live stream would be something that could happen once in a blue moon. Whereas now I can be like, oh, I can move this to here, I can shift this around, and oh wow, there's a 1 hour block,
Yeah.
which previously would have been 15-minute breaks in between a whole bunch of sessions and meetings. So it's more just the ability to be able to do it based on my time that I've done it. And I'm probably going to try and do it every week because I can. It's good, it's fun, it keeps positivity out there. So yeah, live stream mixes every Thursday.
Yeah, I think it's really good to get, like I always love some of the tips that you come up with and stuff, and even watching the streams, even stuff you've told me about in person before, just watching it and listening to it being done in practice just makes all that difference. So I really love that, being able to watch and hear what you're doing in the studio, because I haven't been able to get down for an attended session yet. So
No,
need to figure that out when all
yeah,
this is over.
definitely, definitely. When all this is over, you're more than welcome to drive or fly down,
Yeah.
whichever one's going to be available. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Because yeah, for anyone out there who doesn't know, Nick he does basically all the mastering on my tracks, unless it's something that's just a little remix or it's going to a label or something. It's usually goes through Panorama there, and so yeah, you're always giving us tips and stuff, which is awesome. I love your outlook, because I think this episode there probably will be a lot of producers and musicians listening. Um, Give us your sort of take on mastering, because I love your approach to it and the way you describe mastering. So, how do you describe it?
so mastering for me is like a love affair. It always this is weird. I'm gonna try and be short without being like having too much fluff around it.
Yeah,
Basically, because it's such a love affair, it always changes the meaning to me. So when I started out, it was super technical. Okay, I need to be notching out these resonances. I need to be cleaning this all up. I need to be hyper analyzing it, and that sort of just ended up becoming second nature to me. And as I worked with more and more artists, more and more producers, more records went out. Now to me, it is all about the listener. So as much as I'm technical, as much as I am keeping things critically proficient, and especially in the digital realm, what I'm really concerned about and what mastering to me is um, presenting the music in favor of the listener's experience. So when somebody else goes, puts them in their headphones, plays it in their car, they're experiencing the music as much as it can be a great sounding record, because you can have the most technically perfect, all your levels are right, the true peak is correct, the balance is technically perfect, but if a listener doesn't engage with it and have an experience with that music that leaves them better off, they're not going to come back to the song. And
yeah,
to me, that means it's not really a good master. I'd rather have something that's a little bit quirky, a little bit not right, but that being said, technically, but creatively, when somebody listens to it, they're completely immersed in it, and they just can't listen. I mean, they can't not listen to that music.
yeah, yeah. And so like, how have you come? Like you said, it always changes for you. And is that something that's changed like more recently? When did it make that change for you? You reckon? Like, was
I think it's just been progressive. It's just been really a progressive thing.
yep,
Um, I think because, like you said, this podcast is to document this time and period in our culture and whatnot. For me, my career has been a whole documentation. So if you go back maybe 3 years ago, there's a video of me talking about my mastering process and how I piece it together with my clients. And then if you go back maybe 18 months ago, there's a video of me talking about why I do mastering, and it sort of changes. So first is it's the video 3 years ago is about my service to my clients, what I provide them, how I help them, how I take them through it. The one 18 months ago starts with a video of one of my clients playing a live set with all of the crowd singing along their lyrics. And it's like, now my perspectives change a little bit because I see things like that. I go to my client shows, I experience other people experiencing the music that my hands played a turn in, and it's like, wow, um, the music's much bigger than the mastering, but the mastering is important to the size of the music. That's a bit philosophical, but
yeah,
I'm just trying to say it's really important to me as a mastering engineer now more than ever, because I'm becoming more and more involved in my relationships with my clients. Um, is that experience for the listeners? Like that's just it's just such a cool thing. I think given that a lot of producers and DJs listen to this, they're going to understand that experience because they've played a set. They've seen how excited somebody gets when in a set a certain song comes on, or a certain drop happens, or people start whistling in the middle of the set and chanting together. They know that excitable moment. And to me, as a mastering engineer, being able to listen to a mix and allow people to experience the music, um, or allow them to experience it in its best light is a real responsibility I don't take lightly. So it always changes, and maybe next year might be different how I reinterpret that based on what's going on in my career. But it's always something that's shifting and changing, not for the worse, always for the better.
That's actually what I love about your definition of mastering is that it is quite philosophical. It's not the real technical, just making it louder or anything like that. I've always loved that. You just sort of have that little bit of different approach. And I think I remember seeing you. I think I met you or I heard about you on the EDM. Sam Matler's.
EDM prod, yeah,
Yeah, well, not the podcast. You're on the. He had the book,
yep,
the little ebook years ago on I think it was workflow and
workflow and productivity. Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
remember
that's
when he
right.
was
And
after
you
that.
were
He was
one of
in
the
Melbourne.
people who was interviewed, and so was Aaron Lee, my mate Northy.
Yep.
He was on there too. So that's where I first heard of you, and that's I think it was that I really enjoyed. That like I said, the sort of philosophical side of the way you approach the music in that, which is a little bit different to a lot of people, in I suppose the industry who talk about music. So I think it's something that's interesting to hear you speak on. So
Yeah, that was 5 years ago now.
yeah, I was just
Yeah.
trying to think about how long ago that
Yeah,
was.
that was.
It was a while.
I remember because Sam's from New Zealand. He was living in Melbourne for the 12 months whilst he was writing that. And I remember catching up with him, and um, that's just a long, long, long time ago. Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, long time. It doesn't feel like that long, to be honest.
Well, to me, it does. A
Yeah,
lot's happened in 5 years, like a
yeah.
lot, a lot, a lot. So yeah,
So, is there anything that you've seen at the moment, or that you've seen or you're loving, that's maybe a little bit innovative? And this can be in the music space or outside of the music space, because I see so many opportunities at the moment. In so many industries for people to do different things and innovate and do something totally different. Is there anything that you've seen, and maybe it can be in the music industry, that's sort of got you excited, or you thought, oh, that's awesome, or really creative, that you've seen so far?
I'll be honest. I've seen a lot of people doing a lot of different things in
Yep,
terms of like they've been doing live streams, people doing like sending out mailers or survival kits like via the mail. Like I had one of my clients send me
yep,
tea bags and chocolates and redskins to watch her live stream with,
yep. That's
which is
awesome.
cool. What I think of though is at the moment, because everybody's trying all these new things, um, it's going to be a test of time to see what sticks and what doesn't.
Yep,
So I don't think I can't pinpoint anything as being truly innovative or special and out of the box, because it's everybody trying a million and one different things, even like this podcast. Um, but I think after 4, 5, 6 months, um, people will gravitate to the most accessible, and number one accessible, and number two palatable, in terms of number one, they can access this information or whatever somebody's putting out, whether it be a live stream or a podcast or whatnot, and number two, it can give them the most entertainment and the most value, um, with the least amount of friction. What I've seen some people do is like they've got sign up boxes and things like this and email
yeah,
forms and fill out, and that creates a lot of clunk, a lot of friction, which people don't want to engage with. Something that I've seen is Instagram Live, or even how like TikTok you can remix things.
yep,
I've seen producers put out beats on Instagram, people rap over the beats, and then whoever puts out the best top line ends up getting the record produced with the producer.
yeah. That's cool.
That's cool. It's really accessible. You just have to open up your phone. You've got it. You sing it. You send it back. Done.
Yeah,
Um, which has been cool. I'm not saying that's the most innovative. That's the best. But I'm just trying to say that that's sort of like the formula I seeing as working. Accessibility, palatability, in terms of they can get value out of it quickly. I
Yep.
think with those you can do something important and special in this space.
Yeah, it's almost like as well that collaborative thing, interactive sort of collaborative. I think they're the things that are sort of been quite popular, lately. Like you said, that's interactive, that's collaborative, with writing the top lines. And I saw, I think Low 99 was doing a mega collab thing, and he had
Cool.
sort of other people in, and oh, what do you reckon about this? And people would give him ideas and feedback on what he was doing to sort of write a track together online, which I thought was really cool. Cool sort of idea there. So I want to ask a little bit about the frozen pizzas.
Oh yeah.
You've started doing the frozen pizza thing. Is this something again that you just have time to do now, or like how did you come up with the frozen pizza idea?
Oh, the frozen pizza idea is completely stolen.
Yeah.
Um, so Barstool One Bite Pizza Reviews. His name is Dave Portnoy, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Anyway, is American online personality, business person in New York. He goes around, reviews pizza places all throughout New York every single day. He started doing frozen pizza reviews. So then I'm like, oh, this is exciting. I'm going to be able to find a frozen, because frozen, I can't obviously travel to New York to get a pizza, but a frozen pizza I
Yeah.
might be able to get in Australia. None of the pizzas he were reviewing I could get in Australia. So I'm like, fuck, that really sucks. So I thought, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm going to do it for Australia. I'm gonna get frozen pizzas in Australia, review them, give them a score out of 10, and tally them up. Um, and it's been a cool outlet. Like it's just been a fun outlet to just do. And what's been really cool is um, people have been enjoying it in their news feed because it's something different. It's something positive, light, entertaining. Like I said, it's accessible and it's palatable. And I didn't intend for that to be. I was just copying something somebody else was doing
Yeah.
blatantly.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm never ever shy about that. I'm not trying to hide anything. But yeah, I started doing it. It was good fun. I might put them on YouTube this week, and then just try and keep pushing until I'm run out of frozen pizzas, because Australia has like barely any frozen pizzas to find. It's actually really hard to find frozen
Oh,
pizzas
really? That's the hardest thing.
that are different, because
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is this is the way I rank them. It has to be a basic margarita or cheese pizza. So
Yeah.
bread, sauce, cheese. If you can't get that right, I'm going to assume nothing else you do is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in that, there's McCain's, Ristorante, and home brand. And then there are slight other variations you can get from Aldi, and if you go to specialty stores. But I'm really on the struggle town. I'm really on the struggle town of finding um, more pizzas. So now I'm going to local pizzerias that are doing frozen ones and trying to get them to mail them out to me, and
Yeah.
going through all that, because I want to try and push that envelope and see how far I can stretch this, just for fun, just as a personal sort
Yeah.
of thing.
And I suppose, like you said, you've got a little bit of time extra as well that you can sort of plan this stuff, and you probably can't go out, and eat pizza, or
No.
go to a restaurant. So it sort of gives you that time to do this stuff. And really, the Coles one was good. You enjoyed
Yeah,
the Coles one.
the Coles home brand was scaringly good. I actually did Woolworths, so Woolworths will be up tonight as well.
Yeah.
I won't tell you how that went, but
No. No. Yeah.
Coles was surprising because it was fluffy the base
How
and the
much? Did,
sauce had
how
flavor.
much did they pay you for that review, mate?
They, if I knew they would have paid me, I would have taken them for a lot of money. But no,
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally just eat it, and whatever I'm tasting, whatever I'm thinking of an experience as a pizza for somebody, as a frozen pizza, because seven in frozen pizza world is like 2.5 in real pizza world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's its own scale, isn't it?
it's its own scale of frozen pizza. I'm still searching for the number 10 pizza, like
Yeah.
the ultimate best frozen pizza I'll ever have in my life. But
Surely
no
that's got to come from some restaurant that's
freezing them. Yeah, well,
freezing them yet.
who have I got? I got one in Carlton, one in Collingwood, one in Fitzroy. I'm in messages with actually one of the people who run one of those restaurants. I went to school with their brother. I didn't even know that till they started DMing them.
Yeah.
So they're going to be good contenders,
Yeah.
potential contenders. It's actually funny story, because people like getting entertained on podcasts. My mum started watching the frozen pizza review, so she made pizza, froze it, and then gave it to me when I was at the studio. And that was definitely in the high eights. But I
Oh,
can't
so
review that.
you can't review it because there's inside bias there.
well, it's not inside bias. It was actually it was exceptional. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it was really good for frozen pizza. I don't think it would last in travel, getting frostbite and all that other shit. But
yeah.
it was really exceptionally good. No bias. I would give her a three if it was a three. I don't. I'm heartless. But yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I wonder, if we just go back to music for a little bit, jumping
Yeah,
around a little bit here, but
it's okay.
what's any good advice for people? Maybe I suppose maybe more artists or producers for things maybe they can be doing at the moment. If you know, because we can't all work on music 24/7. Is there anything, any good resources or anything you would maybe direct people to for mixing or mastering or for any kind of learning to do with music?
Um, none specifically. Actually, no. I will say what I'm going to say what I've been doing specifically, and then I'll tell what I think people should do on their own, off
Yeah.
their own accord. So for me, education wise, Pure Mix, I got a pro membership with them. Um, they're great. Their walkthroughs, their tutorials, it's worth. I think it's like 300 US, but it's worth the money per year. Then I'm part of a. If you're familiar with the Future, it's a YouTube channel, a design YouTube
Mm,
channel.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't think so. Yeah.
they're very education based around creative businesses. They have a pro group for creative directors and business owners and whatnot, which is about 300 US a month, which isn't everybody's cup of tea. But I've been on that for the last 3 months, um, and again, it's been productive to what my goals and needs are. Those have been the two primary bits of input, education, and development that I've been taking from, and it's helped me with a lot of things in terms of my business and my even skill sets in terms of mixing and mastering. But what I think people should do on their own accord is, um, with this time, structure your time. That's the first thing. Structure your time so you're still committing. Hey, I'm a producer. I might not be out on the street running around, going to people's places, doing collabs, maybe working my normal part-time job or whatever I had on the side. Um, but I am going to make myself accountable, which means I'm going to work an 8 hour day as a producer. I'm going to have similar goals to which I always had, which is to make great music and earn a living off it, and then sort of start deducting from there. I don't think anybody should be doing anything rash or different or working crazy amount of hours or, you know, trying to reinvent the wheel. I think people should be steady on moving forward, because this is the funny thing. This sort of hiccup in the music industry, if you've had a music career for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, there's no consistency in the music industry, regardless of coronavirus or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I remember when I was starting out, month to month, you could change 50% of your income.
Yeah.
So I've weathered storms before in the early stages of my career where I was going a month on like 2 grand of income, you know? So it's in my eyes, it's like this is the music industry. It's always up, it's always down. There's really big lulls, there's really big highs where you're crazy busy. So just keep headstrong and keep sailing through it, because it's just going to make you a better sailor for next time this happens, because eventually, even in a good market, you're going to have down periods and you're going to be able to deal with them. So if you can't deal with it now, you're going to really struggle when things aren't as bad as this in the future.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Actually, that's a really good way to think of it. I think because a lot of people maybe haven't been around in the scene for long enough for that to happen to them. So it's probably something that everyone needs to sort of hear. Something that I just loved doing today actually was just going back. And sort of looking at music that I used to like love when I first got into like music in the way I am now, like dance music, for example.
Yeah.
So just going back for like 10 years ago to my backups of my music from 10 years ago or whatever when I was DJing and listening to all those old sort of tunes, just sort of to get re-inspired, I guess, with like what got me into music to start with. And I think that was something that I'd say to people, go out and do if you can, like listen to stuff that inspired you in the beginning, and remember sort of why you got into music at the start. Because I think if you're in it for the right reasons, it probably wasn't for the gigs and the live shows and that. You probably just actually love the music, which is something you can still do now. So I think that's, getting back to what got you into the industry for me is something that has been really helpful today in particular. Um, what about, if you talk about, so like your studio there, I've never been to your studio before. Looks
Yeah,
pretty nice from this view, and I've seen a heap of footage. Any tips for people maybe, at home with how they can maybe set themselves up? Because obviously you get a lot of work done in your space. I
yeah.
know your schedule. So, any tips for people, to try and keep motivated and sort of, or also get their space sounding maybe a little nicer? Is there anything you can, any
Yeah.
gold there you can give us?
Well, I think the best asset we have at the moment is our creativity, and I think people in this sort of time are going to become abundantly creative. Um, and that's a given. Anybody can say that. That's pretty common knowledge, but it's how we access that. Now, for me, my access to my creativity, to my flow state, is in this studio space. So it's the actual physical environment. Now you're going to be at home. You're going to have all these ideas. You're going to have all these distractions. You're going to have Netflix. You're going to maybe have your siblings around or your housemates around that are going to be able to easily distract you. Play Xbox, do whatever, or go outside, or you should be going outside staying physically healthy anyway. But you get what I mean? There's going to be many distractions. And even in your own original production workspace, you're going to have access to YouTube. You're going to have access to all the little fiddlies around you. Might be worth going to your garage, putting a desk there. And whenever you want to produce, whenever you want to be creative, you take your laptop there or you set your desktop up there, work out of there. So it just creates a change in environment. And that's just going to trigger your brain to be like, hey, I'm in this new space. Why am I in this new space to perform this task? Let's go. And I think that's really healthy because what's, especially in isolation for people staying at home, you've got the same rooms, the same setup all the time. You're always going to be going. It's not like you're going out throughout the. Like for me, my break from the studio was always going down the road to one of the local cafes. That was my break.
Yeah,
I don't have that luxury anymore.
yeah,
The luxury I have is maybe I might go for a walk, but even then I'm pretty stacked at the moment. I don't even bother going for a walk. It's just sort of like from here to the kitchen and then back to the studio. So
yeah,
my break is technically going to the kitchen, having a coffee. While I'm having a coffee, I'll just look at shit on YouTube, and then when I'm done, I'll come back to the studio. I'm in studio mode.
yeah.
So I think that's the one tip I have. Just create a break in the environment so your brain can sort of flick the switch.
Yeah, like a dedicated space, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um,
And it doesn't
that's
have to be
what's
anything fancy. Like you don't have to set up a studio space with panels and all that sort of shit.
yeah, yeah,
You can even do it in your bathroom, or it doesn't matter as long as it breaks that habit, breaks that pattern, and puts your brain into a new space.
yeah. Yeah, having that dedicated space, I suppose that's one advantage and one thing I've loved about us having our recording studio, because it's obviously not in my house. Having a space we can go to, I find that really helpful as well. So that's definitely something that a lot of people should maybe think about doing out there, if they're sort of going, finding that they're getting stuck, I suppose, because it's easy to just get stuck in watching Netflix and that kind of stuff. Hey, in this time, I suppose it's different for you. You're still sort of working, like you said. Not a lot has changed, in terms of that, which is awesome, man. That's so good to hear for you. Um, what about live streams? Have you seen anything in the live stream space that you've really enjoyed, like in terms of maybe performances? Because we sort of spoke about those collaboration sort of things. Has there been any cool live streams you've seen, that you've liked? I know you've got a pretty diverse range of music you enjoy, so imagine there'd be some different stuff on your feed.
It was actually funny. It wasn't actually live music that I really enjoyed. It was a client of mine. So I wasn't there to experience it,
Yeah,
but he called up a bunch of buddies. I think they're in Philly, and they went to a car park there was no cars there, and they all played live together, but they were all socially distanced far apart from one another.
yeah,
So it was just a car park, and there's probably like a 20 square meter area, 10 by no, 10 by 10, 100 square meter area with
yeah,
five musicians in it, just playing far away from one another. And I thought that was a really cool way to interact and enjoy music and put something out there. I don't know if they streamed it online, but I just thought it was something a little bit different. It's something a little bit um a little bit differently switched on to enjoy their craft, enjoy their creativity. Because the live stream, I respect anybody doing it, um, but people just going a little bit further, a little bit more outside,
yeah. A
um,
little bit
sort
more
of captures my
creative.
attention. Yeah, It
Yeah.
definitely does because it just shows that little bit more effort, and it's also really exciting because we don't see like um, we don't see people being social. We don't see people at a cafe. We don't see people enjoying others' company. So seeing these musicians distance, but they're physically in the same sort of
Yeah.
space. Also, like, oh my
Yeah.
god, there's people who are together and they're not going shopping,
Yeah.
um, which was exciting. So yeah,
Yeah. I'm actually really excited to see because I feel like we haven't seen the full potential of that creativity
no,
come forward yet because I think everyone's still sort of getting coming to grips with what's happening, but I'm really excited to see you know cool innovative sort of live stream or performance type things. Maybe I don't know how people can do it, but collaborating like live on over a stream or something, and sort of playing music together or something like that. Not, obviously it's going to be a bit difficult with if your internet's not that great, but I think that could be really cool to see, and I'm waiting for it, and that's something like what you just described there is like a great example of maybe the beginnings of something coming around. um and also I think like online, the potential for like online um, services and things like that. I think we're going to see a lot of that, and because people working from home, a lot of people I know have said they're just like listening to Spotify heaps all the time. They've got like the best Spotify playlists
yeah,
going around and that. So yeah, like I'm still waiting for that creativity to really come through. I haven't myself, it's sort of like what you said. I haven't really seen anything super out there yet. But I'm actually pretty excited for it. I keep thinking about what could be, So yeah, that's something I'm really been sort of looking for, and searching out. And every now and again, someone will give me a good like little tip. Oh, check this one out, or check this out. Um, got a cool little thing we're going to be doing soon with someone, but can't really speak about it yet. But
that's all right. Yeah,
some cool stuff. So I am going to. We've got a little section here where we talk about with this show. It's got at the end, or sort of at some stage, I've got some fun questions for things that just to keep it a bit light, some fun stuff. So, the first question I have is, I know you've got a partner, you're married and everything, with your cute little kid that I've seen every now and again. But for all us single people out here, first date ideas in this corona times. Have you got any ideas for first dates? We've had going for a walk. That we can't really use that one. Um, there's been a lot of watch movies together online. Have you got any other ideas? Maybe pizza ratings. You could do some pizza ratings with someone.
no. Actually, I had a good one, and it has to
Yep.
do with food.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to, how like you can do Safeway delivery or like online shopping delivery.
Yeah.
You have to send the other partner their meal for your Netflix date, which you're going to do online.
Yeah. What they've got to cook it. Is that what you're saying?
No, no. So like, let's say me and you are going on our first date. All
Okay.
right. So
Cute.
I'm gonna
Cute.
I'm gonna mail you out. I'm gonna mail you out what your meal is.
Yep.
Like in Safeway. So they might have to cook it. I don't know. So it could be like, here's pasta, some sauce, and garlic bread. Okay, that's what we're gonna. That's what you're gonna be eating while we're on this online Netflix Tinder date or whatever the fuck it is. And then you're gonna send me my meal, which I have to cook and have on the date, which could be, I don't know, you might 2-minute noodles, and all I have to do
Yeah.
is pour boiling water in, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's how it's done. It's sort of like a dinner date, but you get to pick what the other person eats, and it'll be
Yeah.
good because that way you'll be able to, especially if it's a first date, it's a good way to judge their character. You know, are they
Yeah.
going to send you like a $50 Wagyu beef steak?
Yeah.
Um, or are they going to send you, I don't know, maybe a raw chicken that you're going to have to make a filling for and stuff and do all this extra shit which you might not want to do? So you get to judge people's personality on it.
Yeah. I like that one. It's like, do you remember the old show Ready Steady Cook?
Yeah,
I think you used to have to buy
yeah,
the ingredients for them and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, there we
It's
go.
pretty steady
Ready,
cook.
steady, cook.
And because of it's a good compatibility test. I think with that, I actually qualify to be a judge on next year's maths.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Get you on there, mate.
Yeah,
You a bit of a maths fan, are you?
No, not a fan. I see the Friendly Geordies reviews
Oh, yeah, yeah, they're
where
always
he
pretty
just
funny.
hangs shit on it. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, I
yeah,
can join in on that.
yeah, that's fun. So second question, are you a scruncher or a folder in these toilet paper shortage times?
Oh,
Have you even thought about it? A lot of people haven't thought about it before.
dude, I don't think about it.
They're usually scrunchers if they don't think about it.
I don't think about it could be a scrunch. I grab, wipe, and get out of there.
Alright,
I
think about it next time when you go and
Yeah,
tell me when I talk to you next.
alright.
So, what's the next one here we've got? So what's in your bunker? So what have you got heaps of in supply at home? Is there anything that you stocked up on because you're like, "I'm gonna need heaps of this," or anything that you went to the shops and there was, like, hardly anything left and you thought, "I'm just gonna get that because it's there." What do you have heaps of in supply?
Nappies, my
Nappies?
son.
Yep, pretty
Like,
valuable.
yeah, well, I don't think I think now you can get them pretty easily, but at the time I was like, okay, better have them.
Yeah.
You know, that's that's one thing I don't want to go without. I don't want to go without because I couldn't imagine using because you can get the cloth ones. We've got cloth ones, but we never use them. But
Yeah.
like having to rinse out and wash out the cloth
Cloth ones are
reusable.
so old school, hey?
Nah,
I
nah,
remember my parents had them too.
nah. I
Brother and
can't deal.
sister.
Maybe I'm just too weak. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one thing I got in overabundance of.
Yeah, cool. And then so the opposite to that then, what's something that you're like, you don't have much of or you're in short supply of or you're like, "Oh, we're gonna run out of that."
I was gonna say wine.
Yeah.
I was,
And
but
you
last night I opened up the wine fridge and I realized how much wine we actually have. So I think I'll be 'cause there's one thing I was worried about.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I was worried about. Do I have enough wine to get me through?
Yeah.
Because there's actually nothing worse than when there's no wine in the house.
Yeah.
I sound
So
like
n
an alcoholic.
yeah, alcoholic. After straight after the studio, it's just a wine over dinner and then a couple more, eh?
Yeah, it's just the wine until I wake up.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do when this thing's all over? What's the first thing that you're looking forward to doing? Or the first thing that you're gonna go and do once it's all over?
It's actually really funny you say that. I think I'm gonna attend more of my clients' shows. I always attend shows throughout the year,
Yep.
um, but a lot of my life gets in the way of me doing that. But I think now I'm gonna make a little bit more of a conscious effort to do so. Um, because I think even artists themselves have taken it for granted the fact that they can do live shows so easily in Australia. There's a lot of venues, there's a lot of people willing to go out to shows. It's something that's always been taken for granted. Now I'm like, oh fuck, this is really a critical part that we actually don't see is not necessarily the lifeline of the creative industries, but it's a very very big component and piece of the pie which I think we've all taken for granted. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was something that we
definitely.
could do whenever we wanted. There was always a show on that we could always go to. For me, it was always like, oh, I can't go to this single release. I'll go to their next single release, or I'll go to their next show.
Mm.
And now it's sort of like, oh wow, um, these have such an intangible value to them. I'm gonna try to get out to more of them after this because as I said, I told you about the experience of a listener, like being able to be part of that. I'm not gonna want to miss out on. You know.
Yeah. I think that's something too for me, like I've always sort of had the studio, the excuse, oh no, I want to be able to work on music tomorrow, or, so I
Yeah.
won't go out, or I'm working late on music here. Where I think now it's going to be a bit more like, no, I'm going to go out. Maybe I won't stay out late or, or drink heaps or anything like that. But I think it's something I definitely, want to make a conscious effort to do more of, which is, that's I guess that's one good thing that's come from all this, is that perspective of things and what's important really in the industry and stuff like that. Um, so last question I've got, it's great to be able to do work all the time, but everyone obviously needs some downtime.
Yep.
So, is there any good book, game, or movie, TV show recommendations that you have for anyone? To if they do need to sort of pass some time. Anything you can recommend or that you're loving at the moment?
I've been binge watching with my wife on Netflix Black Lightning, which is a
Oh, yeah.
DC comic
Yep.
that's been done into TV series on Netflix. The acting and the script is shit,
Yep.
but the storyline is so good.
Yeah.
It just keeps me watching it. Like you can predict what people are going to say. The script is really cheesy
Yeah.
as shit, and the acting's in sometimes it's it's not that good. It's all right, but the storyline just captures you in.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's just a characteristic of those. This is a comic from the '70s. It's all about the story. It's all about the story. So it has a really enjoyable storyline, despite bad script and bad acting.
Mhm.
I'm like 20 something episodes into it, 2 seasons in, or whatever the hell I'm up to, but I'm not stopping. I'm waiting until I finish that third season. So that might be a good way to blow off some steam if you're into that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And so there's 3 seasons you said?
3 seasons.
Yeah.
I think there's like 14 episodes to a season,
Yeah, cool.
which is decent, and they're hour-long episodes, so, you know.
Nice. I'm actually also looking for something to watch now. I've just finished, what I was watching, previously, so, yeah, definitely need to find something.
Yeah.
Alright, man, what else? What else have you been up to? Is there anything you've been doing in these times, that's out of the ordinary or different? Whether it's, maybe going for more. I know a lot of people are doing a lot more walking their dogs and things like that. Is there anything like that that you've found you're doing more of just because you don't have other things to do apart from eating frozen pizza?
Spending time at home on the weekends.
Yep.
Never had that luxury.
Yep.
Never had that luxury. It's been so weird waking up and not working.
Mm.
Like, I've just been for like, not working on the weekends because I usually work Monday to Monday, 3 o'clock every morning, I'm up.
Yep.
Saturday, Sunday, off. So weird. Like,
Yep. Good weird though?
it's just weird. You have to understand, since I finished high school, I've either been when I was at uni, I was either in uni or working every single day of the week. When I finished uni, I opened up my studio after an internship, and every day of the week, I've been in the studio. Or when I was starting out, I was still working part time or working part time. There
Yep.
hasn't been a day off, except for my wedding and when my son was born. But otherwise, I work 7 days a week from 3 in the morning onwards, because it's like breathing for me. When I wake up, I have my coffee, I go to work, I come home. It's just I'm like a robot. It's not because I'm trying to outwork or that sort of like Gary V, like work hard and
Yeah.
24/7. It's not that. It's just how I operate. I just work, and
Yep.
because I enjoy it. And so having the weekends off has been weird. I've been able to do that. I've had the luxury of it because I've got so much more time during the week. But it's just weird, man. Like, I don't know how to. It's like I wake up in the morning. I muck around with my kid in the morning and have breakfast. Like, what the fuck's breakfast?
Yeah.
Breakfast has been like hit the gym at 3:30 and then have a protein shake and get to work. Like, I'm actually having cereal with milk. Like, it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. It's like you're a living a normal life now.
Yeah. But then once
Yeah.
this is all over, I'll be back to my normal self.
Yeah,
But
man. What about your coffee? You got plenty of coffee in supply down there? Because I know you love
oh
your
yeah,
coffee.
yeah. I've always got plenty.
Yeah. Well,
That's
you'll be
how
proud of me. I cut milk out of my coffee just recently, so when I
that's good.
come down, I'll be able to have some proper coffee from you.
Yeah, that's good. Getting rid of milk is good
Yeah,
out of your coffee.
yeah. It
It's
wasn't easy though.
because you can't have many coffees if you have milk in it, though.
Mm, true.
You can have maybe two at the most, and
Yeah.
then you've had your milk intake for the day.
Mm,
Any more, you're gonna have a horrible time.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. No. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Is there anything else you want to tell people? Any messages you get out, or anything you want to tell people before we sign off? Give you the floor.
Just take care of yourselves. That's all. That's all. Nothing
Yeah.
special. Nothing fancy. Just take care of yourselves. That's the most important thing. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
message.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thanks for the chat. I'll put all links to everything you do. Obviously the podcast. Panorama mixing and mastering. I think I might have you linked on my website even. But we'll make sure we get all that out there and everyone can check out the podcast because, like I said, you do episodes daily. So, and I find that a good motivator even to sort of start on music during the day. Just a little short, bit about music or the industry or something. Sort of just gets that passion ignited. So, I keep that up, and yeah, we'll get all that out there for you, and make sure you stay safe as well, mate.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Right, cheers.
Take care.
There we go, guys. Another one in the bag. Thanks to Nicholas for coming on the show. I really enjoyed Nicholas's insight, especially into mastering and sort of music. He's got that real philosophical sort of approach to things, which I really love. It's really refreshing when a lot of people in this industry sort of talk about the technical stuff. It's great to hear his opinion and sort of how he approaches things. Make sure you check out everything Nick does. I'll have links in the comments and show notes. Make sure you check out his podcast, Music Pro Daily, and check out all of his socials because he's doing some really funny stuff, especially the pizza stuff. So, the frozen pizza reviews, really love that. Make sure you like and subscribe this episode to stay up to date with all of the episodes as they come out. All right, guys, that's it for me. I hope you're having a great day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you guys soon for the next episode.